This is my quick and dirty video on adjusting the Harbor Freight horizontal vertical bandsaw. And when you get this thing, if you've never used a bandsaw or seen one like I have, or rather haven't, you're going to have some questions as to how to adjust this thing and what best to do. First thing I suggest is taking the guards off. There's two screws here. You take the guards off that, and there's a red guard underneath here. It's two Phillips head screws to take that off, pop it off. The next thing is, these are your eccentric bolts that are holding the bearings on. Remove these 14mm nuts and get those nice and loose, but leave the bearings on, because that way the blade's going to stay straight. It's going to make life a lot easier. Do the same on this side. And what I also recommend is adjusting this bolt here to pull this further out towards the fence. The fence you're going to want to remove for these adjustments. And the same with this fence, or this adjustment here, because typically if you're not cutting anything wider than, whatever the width of that is, probably 5-6 inches, you don't need that blade all the way retracted. You want these guides as close to the cuts as possible to prevent deflection during cuts. So, once you've removed these bolts or these nuts, or actually you can even loosen them if you want, leave them on there. You want to completely loosen these. This is also a 14mm bolt. And what I did is, you can see that my blade is not completely perpendicular to the table. That's easily adjustable by using the fence. I'm not in a position right now where I can get so precise as to adjust this perfectly within this sector here. My main concern was getting a perfectly 90-degree up and down blade angle to the table, and I have achieved that on both sides by doing this adjustment. So what I do is, you tighten this bolt and this bolt first. You want to make sure that your upper guide bearing sits on the blade but does not push it down. If it starts pushing it down, you've gone too far down, and you're going to wear out the bearing, have other issues. Not good. Then these bearings are going to be a little snug. The manual recommends 1/1000th to 0 clearance. I don't have a feeler that's 1/1000th of an inch thick. So my recommendation is to, once you get it completely perpendicular with a square to the table, test it. See if the bearings seem to run hard. See if something's running unusual. But what I will do now to remount the fence is, I'll just use a larger square like this and mount that fence accordingly. Now there's obviously a degree guide on the other side. I'm going to completely disregard that. That's what I would recommend. And this is my quick and dirty guide to adjusting the Harbor Freight horizontal vertical bandsaw.